Here we go.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking another look at mage healing, updating my guide for mage healing, and covering some of the recent changes to mage healing that made this video necessary, because my original opinion of mage healing was pretty bad, and I mean, right now it feels like it's in a good place, so we're gonna go over it a little more. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and we'll just jump right into it. Now, first off, I'm going to apologize for the video in the background. There's no sound. Thank you, Windows updates, but yeah, I didn't get sound on this video, but it's fine. We can talk over it and yeah, go over everything I want to go over. So one of the big changes, they've made a few big changes to mage healing lately. Number one is if you have an arcane wand, that will provide healing through temporal beacon now. So you can actually heal with your wand when you're low on mana, or just in low, if there's not a lot of damage incoming, you can just wand through it at this point. Also, with the mage healing being pretty much the same as the druid and the priest, in that you want to heal in bursts, and then stop for 5 seconds to let your spirit regen a little bit of your mana. So you can stop casting and use your wand for 5 seconds and get the spirit ticks on your mana while you're healing, if you need to, over longer fights. So that's something that's really good for the mage as a healer now. One of the other big changes they've made is that Arcane Blast stacks can now be consumed by your regeneration and mass regeneration. So you can actually buff those spells and reset your stacks with regeneration or mass regeneration. Now, I will say that Arcane Missiles is still more mana efficient for mage healing than, consuming your stacks for regeneration. With Arcane Missiles, you're going to get about 280 healing out of 235 mana at max level right now at 25. Your regeneration is going to heal for about 204 and costs 204 mana. So Arcane Missiles is still slightly more efficient, especially to consume your clear casting procs. However, just while you're running dungeons, it's probably going to be more convenient to sometimes use those arcane stacks to refresh your temporal beacon on targets. So you'll have to make up your mind which one you're going to use in the moment. But so those are a lot of the changes that they've put in lately. Can't really think of anything else they've added that really has an impact, but all in all, mage healing does feel a lot better, a lot more mana efficient. I'm basically wearing the same gear as the last time I made a video on this, and it just feels worlds better. So that's definitely a plus. So let's go over your spells that you're going to use for Mage healing. This hasn't changed. It's Arcane Blast if you've got the rune for it. You have Arcane Missiles that will give you healing through Temporal Beacon, and Arcane Explosion, but the healing from Arcane Explosion has been nerfed so hard that it's basically useless. Living Flame actually procs your Temporal Beacon healing as well. It doesn't look like an arcane spell, it looks like a fire spell, but apparently it counts. So while you're healing a regular dungeon, Living Flame is very convenient to use. It has a minute cooldown, but it's not much mana at all to cast and provides just an unreal amount of healing, especially if your tank pulls a bigger group. So for dungeon healing, I really recommend taking the Regeneration rune, the Arcane Blast rune, and the Living Flame rune. And those three will make it the easiest for you to get through dungeons. For raid healing, you're probably going to want to swap out Living Flame for Mass Regeneration, especially for fights like Twilight Lord Kelris, where you have just an insane amount of group damage coming in. Mass Regeneration is probably going to be a lot more use to you during the fights like that, but again, that's just personal preference. You do what you want to do with it, right? So one thing I have noticed, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but one of the changes they made was where your regeneration and mass regeneration spells can consume your arcane blast stacks to increase the healing from it. But one thing I'm noticing is, and you can watch it in the video here, just keep an eye on it and you'll see it. The arcane blast buff that pops up, it actually pops up where a debuff would pop up on your screen. But if you watch, when I have those stacks active and cast regeneration, it's not actually taking those stacks away. It is. It's consuming the stacks and increasing the healing for your regeneration, but it's not going away on your screen. And also, it looks like you still have the buff, but if you cast like arcane missiles or one of your other arcane damaging spells, the damage won't actually be increased, even though it looks like you have the stacks up on the screen. So yeah, that really confused me there for a minute when I was making this footage, and it took me a minute to figure out what was happening, but that's what's happening. It is actually consuming those stacks, but it doesn't look like it's consuming those stacks. So just keep an eye on that. Talent choices are staying the same. It's, pretty much exactly the same. Let me pull it up on the screen. Okay, so here I've got the talent calculator up on the screen. You're going to take 2 points in Arcane Subtlety. I put 5 points in Improved Arcane Missiles just so I don't get interruption on the cast time for that spell. You're going to want to put 3 points in Arcane Focus, 5 points in Arcane Concentration, and then 1 point in Arcane Meditation. That's going to take you to level 25. Now, the order you get these in would be a little different while you're leveling. I would go 2 Arcane Subtlety, 3 Arcane Missiles, and then start picking up Arcane Concentration, because that's a huge deal when that procs. It just makes your life a lot better. And then go back for the Arcane Focus after that. But that's the best talent choices you can get for Mage healing right now. So we'll go back to this. Okay, so back to the video, and like I was saying, the spells you have are still limited. The Mage healing is feeling a lot better. Definitely feels better with the changes they've put in to the Arcane Blast and the Arcane Wands being able to proc. That does mean pre-Black Fathom Depths, you're probably going to want to go after Cookie's Wand in Dead Mines for a Mage healer, definitely. I think that's probably the best wand that I can think of at the moment that you can get for an Arcane Mage at this point. I do still have one major gripe for Mage healing, though. And it doesn't look like they're going to increase the duration of Temporal Beacon, which kind of sucks, but I didn't really expect them to. But that would have been a really great way to buff Mage healing. But my biggest complaint right now with Mage healing comes from the scrolls of reintegration that you can use to res people, and I don't even have a complaint with that being the way they decided to give the mages a res. My complaint is more in the way you have to go about acquiring those scrolls. So the little scrolls that drop that you have to decipher with the rune of comprehension or whatever it is. I can't remember the exact name. You know what I'm talking about, though. Right now, the only way to get those scrolls of reintegration is to spend 6 or 7 silver on that rune of reintegration to decipher the scrolls that you get. And you know, they do drop. It's not really that uncommon of a drop, but it's more the fact that you don't know if you're going to get that scroll when you decipher the scrolls that you get. So it kind of makes acquiring the scrolls of reintegration for resing a little more inconsistent than I feel it should be. I really feel like they should add those scrolls of reintegration into the Regent vendor, same as like the Druid has to go buy the acorns. And I really feel like that is a very needed change. I could be wrong about that. They could be people may have already figured out exactly which scrolls you can decipher to get the scrolls of reintegration, and I just don't know about it. But even if that is the case, I still feel like that is, you know, more of a step than needs to be a step for mage healers. That's honestly going to be ridiculous. you know, if you have someone else in the group that can res, you could always just res them and let them res everybody else, but there's going to be cases where that's not going to be where you're not going to have someone in the group that can pick up the slack on resing. And if you don't have the scrolls, well, just tough, you know. So I will say I'm really not a fan of that. Hopefully they will change that in the future, but so far this is what we're stuck with. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you on the updated Mage Healing Guide. I will say I'm gonna say the same thing I was before. I would consume your arcane concentration procs, the free casting procs with your arcane missiles. Even if you're not using the arcane blast stacks on your arcane missiles, that's still the best use of the clear casting procs because of the high mana cost there. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about it. Like I say, I am much happier about how they have changed things. Hopefully it'll continue to get better. Hopefully that they'll make some changes to that scroll of reintegration. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about all of this, and I'll catch you in the next one.